Hey guys, my name is Eric, and in today's video we're doing a review of FlexJobs. So if you're familiar with the service, basically it is an online marketplace to find work, but it differentiates itself a little bit from some of the more well-known players in the space, such as Indeed or Monster or ZipRecruiter. And the way they do that is they are specifically looking at people who are looking for flexible jobs, and that could mean that perhaps you want freelance, perhaps you're looking for weekend work, perhaps you only want 100% remote work. So there's probably something that speaks to you that you're like, hey, I got a specific situation or a specific desire or need, and I'm looking for work that fits that need. So one of the first things we'll get to in a minute here is how does this compare to some of those other services I already mentioned? But one of the things that I want to share on this is just kind of more of a personal story. And what that is I worked at a job that started out fully remote because we didn't have an office. It was a kind of a small company. There was only 3 of us there working there as a marketing agency. And about 1.5 years into the job, we ended up getting an office. And as soon as we got an office, I liked my job way less. And it was interesting because I learned something about myself that I actually really liked remote work. I liked wearing sweatpants and kind of walking into the home office. I liked having access to my own bathroom and not having to go to a public bathroom. Things like that, you know, things that you don't really realize until they were taken away. But it's not like there's something wrong with me. It was just, it fit better to my values and what I valued out of a working position. Before we get too deep into the review, I do want to let you know that in the description below is a link to FlexJobs. That is a paid link, meaning that I can get an affiliate commission if you use my link. It's still the same price to you, and in fact, I'm working on a promo code with the service so that you can save on your subscription. And I appreciate you using my link as it helps to support my YouTube channel. All right, let's get back to the review. So think about what you're looking for. Like, is it specifically, you know, you want to be remote, part-time, or whatever it may be, but I think FlexJobs could be a good fit for you in what you're looking for. And the reason I mention that is if we're looking really fast at these other services, if you go to ZipRecruiter and let's say I put in something like, why don't I say like call center, right? That's a pretty popular job. And then if I try to put remote into their search category here, right? If I put in remote and I search jobs, it just says no jobs found. And that's because it's trying to force me to put in a town. So let's say I put in Austin, Texas, and I put in call center. Suddenly now you have a bunch of different jobs. So with ZipRecruiter, they don't even allow you to filter down by remote, which I think is silly because I'm making this video in 2021. There are going to be so many remote jobs. I think that's ridiculous. They haven't updated that yet. Now, if we do the same thing, why don't we do call center again? And then I go to location on Monster. Again, it's not giving me a little drop down. So if I do search, it's just going to kind of say, okay, we do have some remote work from home jobs, but then what you're seeing a lot here, and I'll highlight these, is it's remote Oregon. So you'll see that a lot. Remote Florida. I think remote Oregon is actually a real place, and that's why it keeps on showing up. Let's take a look here. Yeah, remote Oregon. So it's kind of just like a funny little issue with their service that they don't make that a drop-down option. Now, I'll give credit to Indeed. Now, again, if you put in call center here, and if I start to write remote, it actually gives me an option to see remote jobs, which I think is pretty nice that they do that. Now, what you can get into here is you can decide, you know, okay, it's remote, salary estimate, job type, so full-time, part-time, temporary, location, all right? We're not going to get into that, and experience level. So it does give you more things that you can look at, but when you're going to FlexJob, it even ups it a little bit further. So what I mean by that is they have the advanced job search options. So you can really get specific. So I want keywords like call center, and then you can even do exact phrase or leave it as is. If you do exact phrase, it specifically has to say that in the listing. And then if you want location, you can, but you can do job types. Do I want temporary, freelance, employee, categories? I'm going to do customer service. And then you can do levels of experience. And then this is really key, right? Because you might be looking for something very specific and you might say, hey, you know, I'm a work from home parent. I need a flexible schedule. Okay. And I need 100% remote. So then you can do, all right, let's search for jobs. And now I'm looking at 2 specific jobs that work specifically for what I just put on here. Now, if you want to kind of loosen it up a little bit, you can certainly get more jobs by doing that. I probably actually limited this by putting it in as a manager. If I take that away, that's where you start to see a bunch of different jobs pop open. And these are all 100% remote jobs that are available on FlexJobs. And one of the cool things about this is that all of these listings here have actually been reviewed by a FlexJobs employee. I think that's really important because you can waste your time applying to something that sounds great, but it's actually a scam. There are situations where they'll do that, where they ask you for personal information that you shouldn't be giving out. But really the types of scams that I think are a little bit more common are ones that I ran into when I was looking for work right out of college. Really difficult to find work right out of college because it's kind of a chicken and the egg scenario, because you're like, I don't really have a lot of experience to show. I just have a degree. And I remember applying to this one job is for sports marketing, and they work with brands such as like MLB, NFL, NASCAR, all this stuff. And I was like hitting on all these levels for me. I'm like, I like marketing, I like sports, this is going to be great. And I go to the interview, and it was kind of sketchy from the get-go. It was like, it almost seemed like you're going into like a storage facility kind of area. And when I got there, it was doing door-to-door sales, selling remote control cars. So that was the sport aspect of it. And it was marketing, because marketing is kind of closely related to sales. So you can imagine how angry I was that I just wasted all my time. Like, I didn't even remember even spending time putting together a resume and all that. And it was just really frustrating. So at FlexJobs, they do actually review every single listing so that you're not wasting as much of your time doing that. Now, a couple things also to mention. So Learning Center, there's some really great information in here. If you're looking for a flexible career or finding a remote job, these are really well done tutorials that they actually hooked up with LinkedIn on how to do these. And you can see, like, is flexible work right for you? Building flexibility to your current job, where to look, be a great candidate. So it's going to coach you on how to not only figure out if it's the right fit for you, but how to be more attractive to employers. Now, if you go to career advice, this is really helpful because you can, if you'd like, you can get career coaching, resume review, or you can bundle those things together. And, I think some people, for whatever reason, like, people will spend money in weird ways, in my opinion. And the reason I say that is, they'll spend $6, $7 for a Starbucks coffee, and because it's got all these different shots of different flavors or whatever. I don't go to Starbucks a lot, but they won't spend money on stuff like this. And I think that's ridiculous because sometimes there's stuff that is hidden beneath the surface that you're not aware of that is limiting you in your ability to find work. So a really good example of that is if you go to search career advice Q&A here. This is another feature that they have. Is if you go down to the featured questions, you can search by these things here. But some of their featured questions, it says, what is an applicant tracking system and how does it affect my job applications? This is really important in case you're not getting a lot of callbacks on your job applications. Applicant tracking system is ATS, is a software program used by employers to scan, review, and rate job applications submitted for their job opens. I'm not going to read all this to you, but basically the really important sentence right here is that the ATS tracking system screen out or reject an estimated 70% or more of resumes submitted, either because the documents don't reflect the desired qualifications or are formatted in a way that the system can't digest the information. So you may have a great actual experience for the job you're applying for, but your resume isn't formatted in the right way or isn't using the right mixture of keywords. And what happens is you might be applying to your dream job and it's not making it past the scanner. And the reason they're doing that is if it's a great job and people are, competitive and looking for this, which is going to happen, especially in remote work. As soon as a company decides, this is a fully 100% remote job, there's going to be a lot more people applying to it. So you want to make sure that your resume is structured the correct way so you're getting past the scanner so you can get that first interview and then make a great impression. Now, I think it's important too to think about FlexJobs in the terms of like not only what you're looking for, but what employers are looking for. And I think a lot of times, especially with the acceleration of remote work in 2020, that there's companies being more and more open to remote work opportunities. And one of the great reasons for that is they're opening up their talent pool. Now, I'm in Buffalo, New York, not a huge market. If you wanted to open up a call center service, there's a certain type of person, a certain type of temperament that might be good for inbound calls versus outbound. And for them, it's like they can find somebody who can do that job fine remotely, and then they're not paying the overhead and all those things. But then they can also find really good talent, such as you and somebody who's looking for a really good position. So what FlexJobs ends up being is if you're the employer and you want to hire people, are you going to go to Indeed? Are you going to go to Monster, Facebook Jobs, ZipRecruiter? Are you going to go to these big databases where it's just this massive ocean of candidates and employers? Or are you going to go to FlexJobs where you know that it's people looking specifically for remote work, flexible work, part-time work, things that fit their needs? So I think it's really great because it kind of helps marry the two together. It's kind of like if you're dating, right? And you're like, I'm a farmer. Well, I'm going to go to farmersonly.com. Well, it's kind of like that, where as somebody who's interested in getting into FlexJobs, you may want to consider that because there's employers looking for people specifically like you. So why don't we get into the pricing a little bit? So right here, this is going to fluctuate a little bit because, you know, they have different things going on, different promotions. But do know that when you're looking at it, that they have a 30-day money-back guarantee. Basically, when you get set up with the service, if you're not happy with it for whatever reason, just let them know and they'll give you your money back. So again, guys, thank you for using my link in the description below and supporting my YouTube channel. And the video that you see on the screen right now, that is 17 work from home jobs that you may want to consider. If that's what you're looking for, work from home jobs, there's some basic ones that you can make a little bit of income. But as you start going through that video, the jobs towards the end, you can make 6 figures working from home. And I'm going to walk you through that as well. All right, guys, I'm going to catch you in this next video.